Thank you very much for that traffic update, Traffic Marshal A1 Dorina Rangi there, taking us through to how roads are looking just barely 20 minutes past 8 on this 16th day of July 2020. Now, the front page of the Daily Nation has captured, or rather tried to preempt this day's conversation around schools and the calendar and the feel. Just to have a sneak peek of what they have captured is the virus puts schools on deathbed. That's what we have the header on the paper there. Now, running on empty, 300,000 learners in some private schools face a grim future as their teachers stare at job losses because institutions are struggling under a growing amount of debt and might not reopen their doors in January. Page 4 and 5, it says that some schools have even had their electricity and water supply cut. Now, according to the Kenya National Union of Private and Boardman of Management Teachers, Uasin Gishu Chapter Chairman Obed Nyakundi said that more than half of the 400 private schools in the North Rift might not reopen. Now, the schools naturally depend on parents to pay bills, teachers, and rent. Parents have not paid anything for months. Some teachers have even resorted to casual jobs. The fate of the institution now hangs in the balance unless the government comes to their rescue. Yesterday, we heard from experts, and one of their suggestions is that for government to also include, tutors in the COVID-19 support program. Now, over the last few days, social media was abuzz when the Teachers Service Commission said its employees in public schools would enjoy their full monthly pay until learning resumes. What happens to those teachers who work in private schools? That and so much more is what we seek to hear from you in regard to your opinions about the posing of the 2020 education calendar and the overall effect it's going to have both on the students and pupils, as well as teachers and parents. Quoting Professor George Magoha, who is the Education Cabinet Secretary, is that he says the government has recorded reduced revenue, making it difficult to support private schools. Then, does the onus fall on you as a parent to support private schools? Give us your feedback. We are live on our various social media platforms. Our website is www.kbc.co.ke, as well as Facebook. The hashtag is KBC Kids Talk. Mine is at Ray Manyara, and we're sure going to sample some of your feedback. Now, I'd like to introduce my guests this morning, who are joining us from different parts of the country. Maybe we can have them there on screen. We're going to be having Timothy Ekesa, who is the Executive Director of COC, as well as Kizia Nyaga, who is a digital marketer. Now, there are my participants this morning. Good morning. Glad to have you on board. Thank you very much. I can see several familiar faces. Thank you for coming on board. Now, let's start off with this conversation. What is your take about the posing of, we're calling it a pause on the education sector. Now, basic education as well as secondary school education has been halted for the year 2020. So for the next 6 months, children are going to be home. What is their view in this regard? My first guest. Good morning. Grace, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm well. Great to see you, Grace. Thank you. Just give us a brief intro of who Grace is and where she's live from.
Yes, my name is Grace Masharia. I am a Form 4 student in Moi Girls School, Nairobi. I am from Nairobi. Yes, and I'm glad to be here.
Form 4 students?
Yes.
Wow. Now that the government has made that directive that there's been a pause or rather a halt to the 2020 education calendar, effectively means that you'll not be able to sit for your exam, the the KCSE examinations. As a Form 4 student who has prepared for the last 4 years, what is your feel about this directive?
Well, at first we were disappointed, and yes, we were very disappointed because no one expected that. But then, there's nothing we can do about it. So you choose to take it positively, and you choose to move on and say that no matter what happens, I'll remain focused. So yes. So at first I was disappointed, but then I just came to realize that this is happening to everyone in the nation, not only me, not only to my school. So I just need to take it positively and know that God has a good plan for us. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Grace, glad to know that you are disappointed, but now you sound and you look upbeat. So in these 6 months that you're going to be home, what are you planning to do to just keep up with your studies? Because a report released actually yesterday by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development indicates that for older children, at least they lose 1% of their cognitive performance skills. So what are you going to do to ensure that you still keep up, with your studies in these 6 months?
Well, first of all, I thank my school because we have lessons every day apart from the weekends. So at least that keeps us, like every day you're able to at least go to some subjects and check out some things. Also, with a group of friends of mine, we formed a group where we discuss for at least 2 hours a day so that you don't forget everything. So yes, that's what I'm doing to keep focused. Yes.
Uh-huh. That is just focusing about, your studies and such. But now would want to know what you're doing, like just to ease up, to just enjoy life. I know you miss your friends with this COVID. You cannot mingle as you should have. This second time is when we have, I think, the music festivals, if I'm not wrong. So this is not going to be happening. So for you to socialize and just maintain a semblance of, social interaction, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, we are spending a lot of time with my family because, right now with the curfew and with the lockdown things, most of the time, all of us are at home. So we spend time together, we play games together. At least that keeps us refreshed. And also, about our friends, the only thing we do is chat because we cannot meet, sadly. And yes, that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Now, at Form 4, I'm sure you have career aspirations. What do you want to pursue after you're done with high school? What do you want to pursue?
I want to pursue civil engineering.
What? I had engineering. Say that again.
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering. Wow, that is,
yes.
I think that falls into the category of STEM. And most ladies don't, like the STEM subjects. Why civil engineering, Grace?
Well, first of all, it's because I have grown around civil engineers, so I have learned to love it and I enjoy. And then I also, yes, I just love the thought about it, yes.
Allow me to ask, what are your favorite subjects currently?
Favorite subjects?
Yes.
Biology, chemistry, and physics a bit, yes.
Physics. So you already know your combination, that what you need to really ace at when that time comes to sit for your examinations, that then is going to propel you to a university, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'd want to also pick your brain on this topic. Parents are saying that because you are home, as well as all the other pupils and students are home, is that they're not willing, they actually want their fees refunded because you guys are home and teachers are not teaching. Should your parents or guardians, in this case, continue supporting teachers in paying the school fees? What's your take?
Well, personally, I don't think they need to continue paying because some people had already finished paying the school fees. But for some people who are continuing the lessons, the teachers are requiring for parents to at least support them. But I think there is literally no need, because right now the parents are in a financial fix. Like, people are losing jobs. You have people are at home. You have to feed every mouth, and you have to make sure that at least the TV is on for your children to watch lessons. You have to cater for online lessons. So I think it's not really reasonable for adding to the parents another budget of paying school fees when people are at home. Yes.
Very well said. Thank you for coming on board and just giving us your view in regard to the changes in the 2020 school calendar. That is Grace Masharia, Form 4 student, live from Nairobi, saying that she wants to pursue civil engineering after her high school or rather secondary school education. Her favorite subjects are biology, chemistry, and physics. She says currently the digital platform is everything to interact with her friends that she can't meet due to social distancing, as well as learning. In as far as, paying of school fees is concerned, she says, it's going to be a burden to parents if they are asked to continue paying school fees, yet children are not accessing, their studies as they should, but says that those that are offering digital learning services should be paid at least something. We keep the conversation going, and now we cross over to Shalene Maraga. Good morning. Hi, how are you?
Morning to you, Ray. Hi.
Great to see you. I know you're live from Mombasa, right?
No, I'm still in Nairobi.
You're still in Nairobi. Last week you told us you're going to be, traveling to Mombasa. What happened?
Yeah, I booked. I checked, but the buses, the fares are biked, so I chose SGR, and they were fully booked till Saturday. So I'm traveling on Saturday.
Safe travels when you embark on that journey back to Mombasa. Now, this morning we just want to feel out your feel about the changes in the school calendar as it is. We know tertiary institutions are going to resume in September, while basic education as well as secondary schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. But want to know what's your opinion about that particular issue.
Personally, I think I'll still support Grace. Kids are really hungry right now. I mean, not all have the tight schedule like Grace, so I think it's going to be bad, because most of the kids have been exposed. Like Migori right now, it's having 700 plus cases of pregnancy, and it's not like they're rape cases. No, they are cases of pregnancy, meaning it's something these kids have been exposed to. So I think it's not good for them having to sit down for the whole 6 months at home.
Well, then that is something that you brought up, the issue of teenage pregnancies now that the children are home. But now, Shalini, I also want to ask you, what do you think about, parents continuing to pay school fees while the students and pupils are at home? There's been a lot of talk with some of the proposals being that the parents want their school fees to be refunded. What is your take in regard to supporting the teacher, especially in private institutions at this time?
I think it's not good still, because parents have the worst burden, keeping children in touch, making sure they're safe, making sure, because right now, from health to food, catering for the rent and everything, it's a tight schedule. The financial status have deteriorated. So I don't think it's good managing to support the teacher. Again, they have to cater for the children at home, because they have them at home right now. So personally, I don't think if it's good supporting both the teacher and also the kids at home, because supporting the kids right now, it's tight, remembering that businesses have really locked, and so I think they should not be supported.
How? Now let me just throw this into a spin. Teachers are also parents, and they're also feeling the heat of COVID-19 disruptions. So if they cannot earn from their living, or rather make a living out of teaching, which is their profession, then what happens?
Well, yeah, it's really tough, but I tend to think I think they should, just as parents, the way they are really trying to fight for their kids. I mean, they're all parents, so we should all fight for our kids, because you can depend on another parent, yet the other parent also does not have anywhere to also support you. So uh, it does not make sense. They should just all tend to fend for their families how best they can, because there's no way I can depend on you, yet you're also is also at stake. So how are you going to help each other? Does not make sense.
Aha, very well. Thank you very much, Shalinda, who is in Nairobi planning to travel to Mombasa. Thank you for your time. Now we cross over and meet Kezia Nyaga, who is a digital marketer. Good morning, Kezia. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
Great to have you on board. Maybe you should just give us a brief intro of who you are and where you're live from. Then kindly move back from your screen so that we can basically see you better. Much better. Give us a brief intro of who Kezia is and where you're live from.
My name is Kezia Nyaga. I'm also known as Christy Kezia. I am live from Nairobi, and I'm a digital marketer as well as a lapidator. I'm a lapidator, yeah.
Maybe you can explain what a lapid leader means, or rather entails.
Lapid Leaders Africa it's an institution that is passionate about youth, and what it does, it mentors youth and coaches youth and positions them for life. It prepares them for life. So for me, I feel Lapid Leaders is a finishing school for the young who really don't know exactly what to do. They're finding their purpose. They're trying to be young leaders. So that's what Lapid does. So I am a Lapid leader. I went through Lapid Leaders, and yeah, I refer myself to as a Lapid leader.
Very well, very well. Thank you for that intro. Now we're currently discussing about the changes in the 2020 school calendar. What opinion do you have with the closure of schools for the next 6 months, and just basically the halting of that particular calendar? We're not going to have any KCPE examinations happening this year, neither are we going to have KCSE examinations being written this year. However, tertiary institutions are going to be opening up in September. All this COVID disruptions. At the same time, from where you sit, since you deal with the youth, we've seen issues of gender-based violence, especially among the youth within the family setup, within these learning institutions, and the issue of teenage pregnancy. How about you just give us an opinion of those issues that I have mentioned?
I have a Form 4 sister, a sister who's in Form 4. And to many, it's a relief that they're not going to be sitting for exams. To some, of course, it's stressful, but this is the new normal of COVID-19. So I feel we need to embrace the current happenings of the world and the nation, and we need to be open about everything and be prepared for the after COVID. So this is a time for kids to bond with their parents more, to build on their character, to build on their skills, to get on social media and create content, of course with mentors and coaches by their side. So yeah, it's a time for us to have a very clear mindset and a very positive attitude towards all this. Despite what is happening, we need to be prepared and we need to embrace it all so that we grow through it. We need to grow through it. On gender-based violence, there are very many institutions that have come up that help those people who are in such situations, and it's a time to reach out to them because there are so many mentors. Like Lapid has very many mentors, very many coaches who work with young kids and help them be better. So yeah, it's a time to be very much open about everything that is happening and have the right attitude. We must face this, and we must face it with a very strong face, with a very firm voice. Yes.
I also want to pick your brain in regard to this debate as to whether parents should continue paying school fees while children are at home. What's your take?
I feel that school fees needs to be paid. I feel it needs to be paid because these are teachers who are still working very hard to teach young kids and to position them and to, support them. I feel it's important that they are paid, but I don't feel that all the burden should be on the parents alone. I feel the government should step in and help everyone because many people are without jobs. Many kids are out there waiting to be be taught and for people to work with them. So it's time for also parents to reach out to coaches and mentors and small institutions that help raise kids. But I still feel that school fees needs to be paid, but the whole burden should not be on parents. There should be help. There should be help, yes.
Now, live from Nairobi, that is Kezi Nyaga, who is a digital marketer, saying that there is need for mentorship, especially where the youth are concerned. Do not go away, Kezi. We'll be back with you to just shed more light on what you mean post-COVID and even during COVID, what we can do to empower our youth who are going to be home for a while and might be feeling discouraged, with the current changes in the education sector. Crossing over to Mombasa County, we meet Ruth Oguna. Good morning, Ruth. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Fine. Now, what is your take about, just the changes in the school calendar? And you can just remind us at which stage of learning are you in? Which class, which school probably, and what you think about the current changes in the education or rather school calendar 2020?
My name is Ruth Oguna. I'm 14 years old. I'm a candidate in PCM Makupa Academy and I reside in Mombasa.
Now, as a candidate, I know you have been preparing for the last 8 years so that you can cross over to secondary school. Now, this is not likely. That is not going to be happening in 2020. How does that make you feel, Ruth?
It's not easy. It makes me feel much more anxious than I was in the beginning of the year. And it's not easy at all because school should remain to be school and home should remain to be home. Mixing the two is not easy, especially when you're a candidate, you have siblings. There's so much that you want to do. It's not easy at all.
You've mentioned something very, very interesting there, that home should be home and school should be school. Now you're going to be home and it is expected that you treat your home as school because, government is trying very much to ensure that students get, still keep up with their learning through digital platforms or what you call remote learning. Are you accessing this and is it helping you just, keep up with your curriculum? What is your take on that?
You see, they say the government is trying, but how hard are they trying? Because not everyone is accessing this online learning. I am attending this online learning, but compared to when I was in school, I felt like in school I was doing much, I was more focused. Because when at home, literally, this is something that I'm feeling. You feel regressing slowly by slowly, and it's you and your family who has to make yourself move up. So my graph is weird, and I don't think I'm the only one. Because one day your graph is up, the other day is low. It's not like in school, whereby it's heading high. And I think the government should be doing more, because not everyone is attending these classes. I thank God that my parents are able to pay for me and for me to do the classes. But seriously speaking, it's not easy and it's not as comforting as someone may think it is.
How are you balancing, just doing your chores that are required of you, being a child within the home setup, and just catching up with the studies? Are you feeling a strain? And if it is, how are you balancing the two, Ruth?
My parents are just wonderful. Their support is just amazing. My family supports me in everything that I do. So making this work out, they do everything in their will and in their power to do it for me so that I can manage my school, my home, being with them, doing my work, revising and everything.
Now, what is your feel about having to retake your last year as a candidate?
I don't think it's good, but something had to be done. If it had to be done, then I don't think there's anything wrong. Though in the beginning, I was very bitter about it, but I can't change anything. That's how it's going to be done, and I have to accept and move on. Though I'll be a year back, I was ready to to clear my KCSE when I'm 18, get my ID, but now I'll do that when I'm 19, which is not as interesting.
I like your honesty. I know what you're feeling, the anxiety, crossing over from primary school to secondary school brings a feel of confidence. You become, you're a young adult.
Yeah.
You're a young adult, and it would have felt very nice to actually, start shopping for your Form 1 stuff, a little bit independent. But hey, it's going to happen in good time. And I like that you're pragmatic, that you cannot do anything about it. You can only adapt. And I like your adaptability. So in this time that you're going to be home, other than just revising and doing house chores, how do you want, what are you doing? What are you engaging yourself in to just, lessen the tension and the anxiety, How are you interacting? I know you're not going out because of, COVID-19 and all that, but how are you getting by? What are your hobbies? What are you engaging in that is new that you have learned under this time?
Oh, I sing a lot. We read the Bible. We just walk around the house for walking's sake. I dance with my family and everything. That feeling of being happy, being with your family. That's something actually I got to know and realize through this period, which get to be with family more. So we sing, we dance, we walk around.
I like that you're walking around and dancing. Some of us
In the
cannot.
house.
Yeah. Okay, well, your family is quite unique, and I actually congratulate your parents for ensuring that you have such a conducive environment there. Now, talking about your relations between you and your siblings, being a pre-candidate, now that has been halted, how are you now relating with your siblings who are also going to be, have been taken aback 1 year? And have you had these conversations? Has it gotten to a point where you're having this conversation with your siblings to just make them understand and also just share your feelings about, the kind of disappointment that you went through when you found out that you could not sit for your national examinations?
My sibling, who is my brother and my sisters, mostly my brother because he's just 2 years older than me, he understood me from day one because he was also there and he understands. And he also understands that having a pandemic and also being a candidate isn't easy. For him, there was no pandemic and he was also a candidate, but he was also anxious. So now he also felt the pain that I went through. He's also going through the same because currently he's going to repeat Form 2 and I'm going to repeat Class 8. But we try our best to understand each other, though siblings will be siblings.
I like, siblings will be siblings. That hints at, having that kind of sibling rivalry there. But it's good that you acknowledge that children are children. Now, thank you very much, Ruth. I'd want you to just keep you on board during this meeting because we have so much to talk about, especially, the role or rather tidbits that we can learn from one another, especially young adults in this time. Now we still get back to Kezia Nyaga. Now you've heard there from Ruth Oguna, very optimistic. This was a candidate planning to sit her exams in 2020. That is not going to happen. She says at some point, this has actually made her more anxious because, they don't know when the axe will literally fall, if indeed in January or February they're going to sit for these examinations and such. The issue of repeating and all that stuff. As a mentor, as a coach, one word of advice to Ruth Oguna at this point and any other candidate who is just looking at the uncertainty of the future.
There's one thing that we use at Lapid and generally I use in life, and that is self-encouragement. Every day you need to meditate and give yourself positive words of affirmation, and you affirm yourself with very good attitude. Because the new normal is here. This is how it's going to be. So, because it's not going to change, what are you going to do? I think it's important for us to have, or for every young girl or boy outside there whose exams have been cancelled and they're looking forward to finishing school at 19, we need to understand that we really don't have control of life. Generally, we don't have control. The new normal is here. What we used to or what our plans were. If they have been disrupted, then you have to go with the disruption, but keep calm in the storm, because this is somewhat a storm. So take in the right attitude, continue studying, continue reading the Bible, bond with your parents, bond with your friends on call, draw out your dream and your visions, prepare for the future, because the future is going to come. And for now, when you're in the storm, we have to sail through and ask for calm in the storm. Yeah. So yeah, continue talking to your parents, continue gaining strength, continue praying, keep the right attitude. We're going to get through this. And age is just but a number. We're going to get through, you're going to do your exams, you're going to pass, and life is going to continue, but it's going to be a different level of the life that we saw or we perceived or expected. So yeah, keep up and keep strong.
Thank you very much, Kezia. Thank you very much, Kezia, there for that word of encouragement. I hope Ruth has heard that age is nothing but a number. Completing her, her high school at the age of 19 doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world, and we cannot control so much about the future, but we can deal with what we have right now, and that's surviving, keeping calm, and, being positive, Thank you very much, Kezia, there. Still remain be present in this meeting. You will be providing the mentorship and coach and coaching and life, life experiences to these young ones that we're speaking to today. Now we cross over to Michael and Veronica. Good morning, Michael and Veronica. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Michael?
I'm fine.
Great. Now tell us how old you are, Michael, and at what stage of learning are you in?
Last time, unaweza toa nene.
Michael, it seems we are having a bit of a hitch there. Their feed from Nakuru there is not as steady as we'd want it. Once it stabilizes, we will get back to you. How about we meet Ariana? Good morning, Ariana. Hi, Ariana. Great to see you. Ariana, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great to hear from you. We have missed you on the show. How have you been keeping up? How have you been keeping up?
Good.
Great. Now, schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. What do you think about that?
Very bad. Like
Good question. What will you do? What are you thinking you're going to be doing in these 6 months that schools are going to be closed?
my parents are going to look for me a teacher that is going to help me play guitar. I mean keyboard and an art teacher.
Mm-hmm. So your parents are going to find a private tutor for you during this 6 months. What do you think about that?
That's good.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Now, Ariana, you're 11, right?
No.
How old are you, Ariana?
8.
Oh, you're 8. Sorry about that. I'd given you an extra 3 years there. Maybe it's because you hold yourself with a lot of maturity, which I admire. Now, at 8 years, I'd want to know, you've said the close of school for 6 months is not a good thing, but your parents are looking to find a private tutor to just ensure that you keep up with your studies. It means you're likely to repeat a class come next year. How does that make you feel?
Very bad. I don't want to repeat class 3.
What? Kindly.
I don't want to repeat class 3.
You do not want to repeat a class, but now you have to repeat a class. Or rather, we can only wait, but so far the way things are looking, you might just as well repeat a class come next year. Now, what are you going to be doing on a personal level other than just, attending tutor classes to just ensure that, you still socialize with your friends, you do things that make you happy during this 6 months? What are you looking at?
I help my mom with the plant at the back there, kitchen garden. and I play with my brothers mostly, and I do ballet, and then cook, help my mom cook, or make some things.
Ah, that's nice. Cooking, managing the kitchen garden, doing some ballet here and there, right? So now, because teachers are not going to be teaching you for this 6 months, do you think they should, your parents should pay school fees?
No, the government should.
The government should pay the school fees, or rather pay the teacher?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, but the government has said, and let me read for you a quote here by Professor George Magoha, the Education Cabinet Secretary. He says, the government has recorded reduced revenue, making it difficult to support private schools. What this means is that government has said because of COVID-19, they do not have the revenue required to support private schools. So private schools, I believe you attend a private school, and statistics show that these schools might not reopen come January. What's your feel about that, Ariana?
Bad.
Bad. Thank you very much, Ariana. There, 8-year-old Ariana says that this 6 months that the schools have been closed are bad for her, though her parents are going to be getting her a private tutor. And the question about if teachers should be paid during this time when children are at home, she says no. The government should actually pay the teachers because teachers are an integral part of society. Well, we'll keep your feedback coming. Remember, our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1 News, and mine is at Ray Manyara, while my colleagues is at Doreen Arange. Now, Ariana, we still want you to continue being in the meeting so that we can have a close. We have a mentor and a coach here. Maybe there are a few questions that you'd want to ask her about, just life skills going forth. We cross over and we hear from Ruth Masharia. Good morning, Ruth. How are you? We see you trying to adjust your gadget there.
Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Great. Now that you're stable, we can also introduce you to our viewers. Good morning, Ruth Masharia.
Good morning.
Great to have you on board. Now, you've heard what our guests have said. From there, the students tend to feel that, paying school fees while children are at home is not good. Our 8-year-old Ariana there just said that the government should actually take it upon itself to pay teachers during this COVID-19 situation, while Grace Masharia says that the pressure would be too much on the parents if they were asked to continue paying school fees. And besides, Ruth Oguna says that not everyone is accessing digital learning. So for teachers to demand to be paid, or rather schools to demand that parents pay the school fees, then that is not working, and that the government should do just a little bit more. For her, who is a candidate, was ready to prepare for her exams and will take her exams this year, and is contending with the fact that it will not happen this year. They're saying more has to be done from the side of government. Ruth Mashari, you're coming on board as a parent, and I'd want to hear your thoughts in regard to these changes that have been put in place in the education system, especially the school calendar.
Actually, I'm a parent of two candidates, which I was less so ready to do who are ready to do exams this year, a class 8 and a form 4, and as a parent, of course, when these things have happened, of course there was a shock, but again we had to accept what is happening, and I want to I had to take it positive that I have to stay at home. I had to change everything, stay at home with my children to help them do the revising and everything, and to continue giving them hope. So as a parent, I just want to say it's good to support the teachers. I know, like my children, maybe one is in government and the other one is in private school. So when the schools closed, the private, they were not able to get it. They were not being paid by school. So what these children are saying is because the children, the private schools is a challenge because the parents are the ones who pay the teachers. And now that there is no school, there is no going to school, there is nothing, the parents now, maybe the teacher has to make some initiative to reach the parents, and maybe not just lay paying, just support them, like the Zoom lessons and all that. So to me, it's not, we're not paying the school fees because we are not in school. One thing, you should take it positive because we are not in school. Okay, you are creating relations with your parents, that is one thing. You are also having more time to know how to relate with your siblings. You are also having time to know yourself better because it was school always. Because it's always good to see at the positive side that all things work together for good. So it is not, there is nothing that God did not know about this COVID-19, and it's time for you to have time with your parents, to know how to cook. I hear some of you are learning how to cook, you are learning how to do things, you are learning how to relate with your siblings. Maybe if this year was not maybe back like what you are doing now, ungejua such some of those things. So for me, I'm taking it positive, and for sure, as you are saying, the government is not we are the government, and if it's coming to paying the school, it's not, I'm not seeing it like paying school fees. You're just sponsoring the church, encouraging the teachers who are out there. Some of them are not being paid, and then encouraging to keep in touch with you so that you don't forget. Don't forget what the teachers taught you. Because when these teachers are not in touch with you, by the time you go back to school, the time when the light time, the time that this thing will be over, you may be back and they will start again at zero. So I think what the parents are supposed to do, just support what is happening, is that the teachers are also parents. So I believe they also need to be supported and to be encouraged because they also need to be with their children. So let it take positive, and let's just accept this has happened, and let's be positive, and let's accept that we have this extra time to be with our parents and to connect with them and to be the best we can. Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm communicating.
Now, Ruth Macharia, the parent, the first of our guests here to just say that paying of these teachers is essential, and you shouldn't, as a parent, consider it as paying school fees, but rather than supporting the teachers and the school during this time. Statistics indicate that around 300,000 learners in some private schools are facing a grim future as their teachers stare at job losses. And it means that come January, these teachers might just be jobless. And if they are jobless, it means that these 300,000 children might just enroll in already crowded, learning institutions. So Ruth Macharia, a parent, says that she considers paying something small for the Zoom classes as supporting the school as well as teachers, so that her children, who happen to be candidates, or rather were candidates at KCPE and KCSE Class 8 and Form 4, to just continue maintaining, momentum for their revision ahead of their exams. Before I let you go, Ruth Macharia, I would want to know that both your children are likely to repeat, or rather retake, that 1 year. How does that make you feel as a parent? Ruth Macharia? Unmute your mic, Ruth Macharia, because that's the question I'm asking you. Kindly unmute your mic.
Yes, I have. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can. I'd want to know, on a personal level, how do you feel about your two children having to retake a year?
For me, I think I've nothing. I've talked, and it's good. At first, I felt bad, and after even myself, talking for the other parents, it's a shock. It was a shock, but and seeing the news and seeing what is happening, and it is beyond. It was not anyone's fault. It's something that has affected all over the nation, even outside the nation. So for me, we end to talk and say it is not affecting us as far as you, as my children. It's all over, and the best thing we need just to accept. And then again, I told them maybe there are things that were not covered in this class, and maybe you missed somewhere something. So it's your time now to go back and lean and lean. And by the time you go back, you can get the best you can get. I told my daughter, you can get your A's in everything now. You can. Then my son, I told him, you can get over 400 marks for you now. And now because of that, they got and kind and we are now moving on. They are working out towards the things they did not cover the years. Maybe they missed in the other classes. They are now working and we are taking it positive. And again, someone said years are just a number. They people finished Form 4 and they did not get the grade they needed to get because of maybe the pressure and they did not prepare well. But here they are, God has given them a chance to do the chemistry they did not understand, the biology they did not understand, and come out with a grade they could not have gotten if they did the exam there. So for me, I'm taking positive. It's not about the year, it's about what are you coming out after class 8, after Form 4, what are you coming out with? So it's the time now to refine themselves and to work hard and to take it positive and go back to those revisions and do the best they can do. And that's the advice I can give to the one who's in class 3. It's not about the year. Years are just a number. Even as you're out of school and people are still in school. So it's not about a number. Even when your parent will still be going to school. School is shangy. We just continue learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth Macharia there. School, it's ever a learning curve for everyone. Whether you're an adult out of school or you're already working, learning is a continuous process. I like the gusto. I like, the positiveness about this issue, that this, especially for candidates both in class 8 and Form 4, is that this is an opportunity to just revise or rather tighten the ropes in regard to those subjects that you are feeling, you are anxious about. So this time, Natalie, we are coming to you in not too long. Natalie Kaikai. Now just take time and revise all that you have covered in the previous years. That is a message from Ruth Macharia, who is a parent and who is ready and willing to support teachers during this time, saying she considers that not just paying school rent, but just supporting teachers who are equally parents elsewhere and the school to remain afloat to avoid a disaster come January 2021. Now, Natalie Kaikai, good morning. Glad you could join us on the show.
Yes.
Great. Now, if I'm
Good
not
morning.
Great. If I'm not too wrong, is that you are studying at Maseno, right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. I remember.
I'm a student in Maseno University. I do media.
Great. Great to have you. Now, tertiary institutions are going to reopen in September. Are you ready to go back to school? And are you confident that, strict guidelines and protocols, especially within that have been set out by the health ministry, social distancing, sanitizing, and masking, are going to be adhered to in your institution?
Okay, I can't say I'm ready to go back to school, but it's high time to go back to school. It's something we have to prepare psychologically after staying home for so long. As for going back to school in September, I think it's a far-fetched dream, especially in universities with the population in our institution. So it may work for colleges, but university may be a little tricky, adhering to social distancing, even judging by the number of people we have per class and the size of the classroom. So it will be difficult for universities to adhere to reach to the standards that Professor Mago has set. And then also, going back to school, it may be for fourth years mainly, so that they may clear. But I don't think the whole university will reopen.
Mm-hmm. Now, Natalie, you've highlighted some of the key areas that you are, pointed areas of concern, the issue of the number of the students within your institution. You're not so sure you'll be able to maintain social distancing because of the population. And you have said this will take a lot of planning mentally, especially for students who have been away from school for a while. In your opinion, Natalie, When should these tertiary institutions open?
They should open as soon as they can adhere to the standards that have been set to reduce the spread of COVID-19. I believe it will be tricky, but it's possible. So as soon as we're able to adhere to all the set regulations, we'll be good to go. Yeah.
Until they're good and ready to adhere to the protocols, then that's when they should be ready. On a personal level, Natalie, do you think you'll be able to handle, or rather just maintain, or see to social distancing, masking, and sanitizing within the university? Look at the cafeteria, for example. Look at the hostel, for example. Are these places going to be able to adhere to these health guidelines? And also on an individual level, this is campus life. We all know it's life on the fast lane. Are you sure that are you confident that you can actually see this through?
Sincerely, no. I don't think it will be really possible, because as much as I wear a mask and I sanitize, I still have, like, for example, in my class we're about 100 students, and that is excluding common units, which sometimes go up to about 500 to 1,000 students in a hall. So it will be very hard, and even interacting with friends who we've not seen in such a long time and we are close and we live with them, it won't be so easy to adhere to social distancing. And even when you go out to get food and just do normal school stuff, it will be very difficult.
Thank you very much, Natalie, there. Thank you for giving us your honest opinion about the resumption of, learning institutions, or rather reopening of learning institutions in September. She says she's not so sure that she can, on an individual level, just maintain, social distancing and masking because of, the huge numbers within the universities and such. Now we cross over and hear from Precious. Good morning, Precious. How are you? Precious, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you. Kindly move a little bit back from the screen so that we can better see you. I think that's much better. Precious, now you are good to go. Precious, tell us how old you are and where you're live from.
So my name is Precious Amaiza. I'm 14 years old.
That is 14-year-old Precious. As we try and fix the sound there from Precious, just to redo a recap on from what we heard from Natalie Kaikai, who is studying media and ICT in Maseno University, saying that I think September is a little bit too soon for tertiary institutions to reopen, citing the population and just the activities within the universities. How about we get to hear from Francis Gishuhe? Good morning, Francis. How are you? Are you of a different opinion from what we have so far heard? Good morning, Francis.
Morning.
Great. How about you tell us how old you are and where you're live from?
I'm Francis Geshohe. I'm 13 years. I school at St. Antonio Primary School and I'm live from Nakuru.
Thank you very much. Now, what is your take about the current changes in the school calendar? We're not going to be having school for the next 6 months. KCSE and KCPE are put on hold. What is your take?
My take is that it is disappointing that we're not in school, and I miss the company of my friends at school. At home, I usually, at my free time, my parents My parents helped me to make some things using the clay, paper mache, and
Okay, I think we're having an issue there with your sound quality. Francis Gishohe will be coming back to you once we stabilize that sound. How about now we rope in Kezia Nyaga? Kezia, you just heard that for Francis Gishohe that it is quite disappointing that he's not going to be in school, and he says he misses the company of his friends. Now, the issue of socialization is an integral part, in terms of, especially for those in their formative age and young adults. What do you have to say in regard to the role of mentors that mentors can play, in as far as socialization is concerned? Kezia?
As far as socialization is concerned, it's an integral part of a human being to socialize and talk to people and be one and all that. And it's important that we keep on socializing and keep on talking to people. So do not falter at calling your people or receiving email calls and opening up to your mentors and coaches and even your parents. This is such a key time for you to bond with your parents. If your relationship is bad, it's a time to mend it. If a relationship between you and your siblings is very fightful, it's a time to ask even God for divine wisdom on how you can relate and how you can live better with your people. COVID-19 is making us stay with our parents more and be with our siblings more. And maybe these are the places where there's so much distress, there's so much pain, but it's for a purpose. It's for a purpose for us to gain more character and take advantage of the time that we have with our people. So yes, it's very important to socialize and be key on calling each other and being strong, and also delegating. The times that you're feeling it's really hard, you always try to delegate. Ask your mom, ask your dad, because all these people have it. Our parents have it. They have been young and they have it. They know how to be a young girl, they know how to be a young man. So yeah, they have it in us, they have it in them, and they are able to import in us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. There, Kezia, agreeing that socialization is an integral part of every person's, growth, whether young or old. And at this point is that role models have a role to play so that, they can help us shape our world views in a better, in a different light. Now, just to read an excerpt from a pullout, actually borrowed from the report that was tabled, is that the coronavirus pandemic has exposed a gap between learners from wealthy and poor families, as a majority of those in elite private schools continue with their studies despite the cancellation of the academic year. Now, millions of public school learners cannot access online lessons, and since a few households have smartphones or laptops, now many private schools are also engaging learners in Google and Zoom classes where parents are paying for the lessons. Grim statistics there. COVID-19 has exposed a gap between the rich and the poor, coming at a time when you're told that, education is the only thing that your parents can give you to just propel you to become a better person in the future. Huge disparity between the poor and the rich. Roping in Timothy Ekesa, who is the Executive Director of CARC, to just share his insight in regard to the current changes within the school calendar. Good morning, Timothy. How are you?
Good morning, Regina. Thank you for following the discussion. Great ideas from children, from experts, and from mentors.
What is your take about the current changes within just the school calendar? Some issues that have been brought about by some of the children who are participating is that they're anxious about sitting their examinations, given that they were candidates, and now KCSE and KCPE have been literally squashed, or rather put on hold for now, while others are saying that they are disappointed because this 6 months they're going to be missing their friends at this point, while others are saying they're worried, while parents are saying that they have had now to step up their parenting role and ensure that their children do not sink into depression and they still keep up with their cognitive performance skills. What is your take?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Regina, for that. I totally agree. COVID-19 is inevitable. It's affecting the whole world. It's affecting Kenya, and we have to accept it. But my take on this is that I think the country is speaking to everybody except the child. Just as the Minister of Minister of Health is giving updates on daily basis on how many people are infected, those who have died, those who have recovered. I think the Minister of Education also needs to actually share information to the children. My problem is that the educationists are quiet, so the children are wondering what is happening. I think it is high time that they also got assurance. The mentor there talked about assurance of children showing things are okay. I think it is important for the educationists in this country to also, even if it's a weekly or a bi-weekly meeting, to be able just to also talk to the children and assure them that, well, doing everything we need so that we can be able to go back to school. They could also even be sharing some of what they have done. Have they expanded the schools? Have they got enough masks? Because the truth is that when come January, it will not be business as usual. We will not go back to 2018 January. Things have changed in this country and we need to change. And that will also keep the teachers busy. Because even right now, teachers could also be sharing messages to the children, be it through WhatsApp, be it through media, be it through newspapers, so that the children can be assured our teachers are there. These children form a bond with the teachers. I'm sure some of them are even just missing to hear a voice of a teacher. Some of them are just missing to hear a voice of their head teacher or even the headmaster. Then back on the issue of the private schools and the teachers, there are no private children in Kenya. The children in the private school are just Kenyans like any other Kenyan. And for me, my view is that if the government is paying the teachers who are in public schools, they should also just be able to also support the teachers who are in private schools, because they are not teaching private children. They are Kenyan children, and their parents also, they are Kenyans also. They're also facing COVID. It doesn't mean that teachers who are in private schools don't face COVID. They're actually just facing it. So for me, my take is that I think we need to do a bit more to assure the children. We need to do a bit more to engage the teachers so that they also just don't sit and feel idle.
Quite a mouthful there. Tim, I want to also bring out with what drop you in on and seeking your opinion. Natalie Kaikai is studying media at Maseno University, and she says she's not so sure or confident that institutions, tertiary institutions, are going to be able to adhere to the laid down health protocols by September ahead of the reopening. What's your take? Because
I agree with Natalie, she has not seen anything. I'm sure she has not seen any information about Maseno University, whether they have converted the fields into classes, whether they have kept, they have already spaced out the classes. There is no information. All we are hearing is that you will go back to school, you will not go back to school, you'll open in January. So that's what I'm talking about. If we assured students with the university and colleges, and even show them, they could even show, she's a media person, they could show some pictures of Maseno University and tell her, Natalie, things are okay. I'm sure that will build confidence in her, and she'll want to go back to university. But without that, I agree with her. I don't think we are ready.
Now let's also focus at the issue of having parents continue supporting the schools and teachers, especially in just paying the school fees. Earlier on in the week, we had a debate and there were proposals that schools that had already received the school fees full term for the year need to reimburse the parents those monies paid. And we had varying opinions. Today, from where you sit as a parent and as a person who is a child rights advocate, from wearing those two hats, do you think that parents should continue paying school fees, or they continue paying teachers, especially in the private school, during this difficult time of COVID-19?
I think for me, for first term, we can say the fees of first term, because my question is, why do parents pay school fees? First of all, in Kenya, in education is subsidized. Even the government is paying school fees for children. For first term, we only remain with 2 weeks to closure. So the money was, we pay school fees to keep the children in school, to pay the teachers, to pay the workers, to make the schools be clean. So for first term, that was all that happened. But from first term, I think it's up to the schools and to the ministry and to the parents to assure us that those things have been going on, that they have been keeping schools clean. I'm sure I talked to one of the head teachers, and she tells me, actually, she passed by the school like after 2 months, and she found the whole classes, there was grass all over. Nothing is happening. Nobody's working in the schools. So if that money was meant to do for those things and nothing is being done, I don't know what will the parents be paying for. And I'm sure the bursar is not working. Nobody's working. The workers are not in the school. So to me, the school should be able just to be able, like even for us, we pay some fees for needy children, and we paid for the whole year. We are actually expecting that when the schools open, we should only be able to pay for one term, for if when the schools open in January, if it is projected, because the money is there. Where has the money gone?
That Alfred Indimuli Kahi, who is the chair of the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, said yesterday in regard to that particular question. He said that there are other services that the school continues to run, like pay for water, pay for electricity, pay the security that run whether the schools are closed or not. Then he also brought about the issue of teachers. Now that the government has said that it has recorded reduced revenue, it is making it difficult to support private schools. Their private schools are arguing that this should not be the case because we already understand they have employed teachers from the Service Commission. That is the argument from the teachers' point of view team, that there are services that they have to pay for whether the children are in school or not, and better yet, some are already offering online classes. They have to pay for security, and they also have to keep the teacher in their employ.
I totally agree with the Ndemuli, but my question is, who is drinking the water in the school? Are the children in school to drink the water? Are we talking about electricity? All the schools are lit at night. All the classes are lit at night. Who is studying in school? Unless we have some other business going on in the schools. Unless it is like one of the schools I saw, the owner turned it into, he has taken the field and he has planted vegetables, and the classrooms are being used for keeping chicken, rearing chicken. If they're using electricity for those kind of things, we'll understand. But to me, I know there'll be minimum, there'll not be maximum. Secondly, teachers are paid by the government. They are not paid by the parents for public schools. But for private schools, it is the fees that parents pay that the owners of the schools pay the teachers. So to me, that's very different. But if they are TSC teachers, most of them are TSC teachers, and that's where we are saying these teachers are Kenyans. These teachers are also facing COVID. Just like the government is subsidizing those who are needy, subsidizing those with disability, old people. This is another category of people who need to be subsidized because they are not a government payroll.
Mm-hmm. Very, very passionate there. But the question has always been the private schools. We are looking at grim statistics. Over 300,000 students are likely to, drop out of school. Why? Because the schools have closed and they'll now have to come to the public schools come January. So there have been proposals to have the government come up with an economic stimulus to actually support tutors during this time. Do you think this is something that we ought to really, or rather government needs to focus on, Timothy?
Regina, I can tell you that is in the best interest of the government. Because if we don't keep those children or those schools working, the private schools, in January, this magical January we are talking about, there'll be chaos in the schools. Where will the 40,000 children go? The 300 children. So the private schools actually have to be there so that they'll absorb the 300 children as the government takes care of the other children who are remaining. Because we're having 19 million children in school, 3 million in ECD, and half of them are in private schools. Then we have, I think, 10 million in primary, and about, I think, 9 million in high school. And the thing is, it is in the interest of the government that those schools are working. Otherwise, because it is a right, it's actually all Kenyan children have a right to get education from the government. The private schools are actually subsidizing the government. So for me, if they are service to the government, it is just in the interest of the government to keep the schools working, to keep the teachers being paid, so that come January, they will continue. Otherwise, there will be chaos in January. All the children will come to public schools which are already overflooded. What will happen? It will be chaos.
Good question there. What will be happen if government does not take the bull by its horns, literally, and support the private schools? The education sector needs to run, and that is in the interest of the government. So says our guest there, Timothy Kesa, who is Executive Director of KARC. Thank you, Timothy, for your time. Now we cross over to Spacey. Good morning, Spacey. How are you? Spicy, how are you?
I'm fine.
Great. You have a very interesting name, and one of my directors was really asking, is it Spacey or Spicy? So which one is it?
Spicy.
Spicy. Wow. What's your second name, Spicy?
Spicy Wangoi.
Spicy Wangoi. Where are you live from?
I'm live from Nakuru County.
Great. How old are you, Spicy?
I recently turned 13 years old.
Wow, congratulations. 13 is a beautiful stage, you know, yeah, transition stage there from you just a teen, adolescent, young adult, thereabout. Very confusing time to be growing up, but you'll ace it. Now, schools have been closed for the, going to be closed for the next 6 months. What is your take on that?
It's really boring for me because every day you wake up knowing that you're going to go through the same routine as every day. And you normally don't get to see your friends, which is frustrating for me.
So for you, it's boring, and the fact that you do not get to see your friends. But then, you have 6 months to go. What are you going to do within your 6 months to just ensure you just don't get so bored, you know? 6 months is a long time.
I actually don't know what I'm going to do because it's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'd want to know, do you access digital learning? Are you learning remotely?
Yes, but it's expensive. My parents have to pay the school fees, and I find it confusing. Why do they pay the school fees while it's on online classes?
Mm-hmm. Digital learning is, your parents are saying you're finding it expensive. Now, in your opinion, we've been discussing on whether, you know, the parents should continue paying a little money, whether it's in school fees or just appreciation and in support of teachers who are offering these digital learning programs online. What is your take, Spicy?
I don't think they should pay the school fees because where is the money going to? Why do they need it? We only need to buy the bundles and we are good to go.
Yeah, but if you're buying the bundles, let me just let me be the devil's advocate here. Well, you'll buy the bundles, you get your Wi-Fi, you get to get into a Zoom class. This Zoom class is being conducted by a teacher, and that their profession is teaching, so they're teaching online. Shouldn't they get just something small to ensure that they are motivated to continue rendering their online classes? What's your take, Spicy?
Yes, I think they should get something, but not much, because you are the people who are buying the bundles.
I like when you say you are the people who are buying bundles. I'm sure at 13 you're not the one buying, but it's your parents. Thank you very much for your opinion in that regard. And before I let you go, are you comfortable with repeating our class come 2021?
No, I'm not, because I was already preparing to be a candidate next year. But when I found out you're going to repeat, it was sad for me, because I already started boasting to my friends that I'm finally going to leave primary school.
Now it seems you're going to be there for one more year. But anyway, as we say, and I'll borrow what we've heard from our mentor, Kezia Nyaga, is that age is nothing but a number, and that, you know, we have to just keep the faith and we have to survive COVID-19. Thank you, Spicy, there. 13-year-old Spicy says she's not so comfortable, she's not so happy having to retake a class come January 2021. Says the current situation is quite boring. She has not figured it out exactly what she's going to be doing in the next 6 months. I don't know what Wayne Njoroge has to say in that regard. Does he find it boring, and is he anxious about, you know, the future in regard to the school calendar? Wayne Njoroge, good morning. Good morning, Wanjoroge. How are you? Kindly sit up so that we can be able to frame you and get a better picture of you. Wanjoroge, good morning. Tell us where you're live from and how old you are.
Good morning.
Great to have you. Quite a powerful voice you have there. Where are you live from?
My name is Swen Joroge. I'm from Nakuru County.
Ah,
I'm 14 years old.
You're 14 years old. You are moving. You're moving. Kindly get a position to stand in first so that we can have you steady. Wine Joroge, 14 years old. We're going to be getting back to Nakuru County with Wine Joroge. I understand that you have stabilized, or rather your feed has stabilized. Wine Joroge, you were saying? Great, we can see you better. How are you this morning?
I'm very good. And how are you?
I'm good myself. It's chilly in Nairobi. I don't know. Is it chilly in Nakuru?
Yes.
Good. I can see you in a hoodie. Now, schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. And if you're 14, it means you must have been a candidate. Are you?
Yes, I'm a candidate.
Great. What do you feel about having to retake your examinations when schools reopen in 2021?
I feel that's good. That's very good to open next year. Because I was very nervous for the KCPE.
Very well. I like the way you said good. So during this time, during these 6 months, what are you going to be engaging yourself in to just keep up with your, with your studies? What are you going to be doing?
I learned through online with my mother's phone by Kupavu 291.
Good. Do you think that is enough for you to just catch up with the lost time in school? Does it substitute the lost time in school? Do you think it's adequate?
No.
So what are you doing to substitute that, or rather, just because teachers are no longer in school, so what are you doing to just keep up other than just doing the online? What else are you doing in your individual capacity to ensure that come January 2021, when the school calendar comes out and maybe they say you're ready to do the KCPE, you're going to be good and ready?
Yes, my mom has some connections through WhatsApp.
Now, there's been a concern that, there's a lot of exposure to children, courtesy of being online, the digital learning, the remote learning, you call it that. There's been a lot of exposure online. Have you found yourself in a situation where you've accessed material that is not so good for your consumption, and what have you done in that situation?
Yes, I have revised with it like Shupavu 291. I revised with it.
Now, kindly take that again. I didn't quite get you. Njoroge. What did you say about
I learned through Shupavu 291. I learned through Shupavu 291. And I don't understand, I call the Safaricom number. They've given me a number to call them.
Good. Thank you very much. At least you know what to do in such a situation. Now, there's been talk that, during these 6 months, that parents who had paid their full fee for the year need to, get reimbursed, or rather the schools should return the monies that parents had paid for the year. And also suggestions that because teachers are offering digital classes, that parents should pay something small to support digital learning. What is your take, Njoroge?
Pardon, I did not understand you.
Do you think parents should continue paying some amount of money, whether school fees or just a little stipend to teachers while schools are closed?
No.
Why?
Because you see, during this corona, there are some businesses which have been closed down, and parents don't have the money to pay the school fees.
But teachers are parents, right? So what, in your opinion, should we do?
Have to do
what should be done? What should be done then to support teachers who are also parents, because they earn a living from teaching? What do you think should be done to support them?
The government should provide some things for them, for the teachers, so that they can feed their families.
Thank you very much.
That is the work of the government.
That is the work of the government. Point. Okay, fine. Thank you very much for your feedback in regard to the issues that we were highlighting. Now, I want to rope in Kezia once again, and just to hear your opinion in regard to, issues of teenage pregnancies that have shocked, government as well as just the population at large during this time, of COVID-19, and how then can we ensure that our girls especially just stay away from such vices or such situations. Kezia?
Thank you very much. On pregnancies, I think it's a whole society responsibility. So it's the parents, it's the child's responsibility, and if it has happened already, it's time to set yourself for what has already happened. You see, with many things like corona or pregnancy or anything tough that you're facing, we really can't change it immediately. So we just need to brace ourselves to face exactly what is on the table. So when it comes to teenage pregnancies, I feel parents need to step up, mentors need to step up. We also as individuals, we need to step up. Every institution that deals with young people or women issues or raising men, I think we all need to step up and do better and reach more. The same thing as Timothy is saying, there's so many things that are happening but you're not aware of. So I feel institutions should come to the forefront of digital and speak to their people, because it's their time. It's the time for mentors, it's time for coaches, it's time for parents to step up and work with their kids and work with each other. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kezia Nyaga, who's a digital marketer and someone and a coach, a life mentor and coach there targeting the youth, saying that it's a collective initiative to ensure that our youth, approach life on the right path. It's the high time to step up and get counted and be a role model to that young adult. Thank you very much, Kezia Nyaga, for your time. Now bringing up this Grace Masharia to just close up this conversation. She is a Form 4 student who wants to pursue civil engineering. Grace Masharia?
Yes. So I'll give my final comments. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I believe that this is a chance for, as Ruth Masharia said, for us to develop ourselves, not only in our studies, but also get to know who you are, get to know your parents, get to know how to live with people, because when you learn how to live with your siblings, then it's very easy for you to live with other people outside there. And also, you see, when you hear these things about teenage pregnancies, it's very painful when you hear your age mates are doing this. But one thing that I have learned is that it is about you, yes, about the society. But I'll bring out the fear of God. Fear God with your body. Don't get entangled with the wrong company. Make sure you are in the right place at the right time. And one thing is that when you are idle, then all these thoughts come to your mind. So get something to do. And as one of us said, read, pray, because our God is still on the throne. And I believe that this coronavirus will be over. But what will you come out of it with? What will you say that I did during this season? Because we are unique, actually. Like for us as a candidate, no other class has been given a whole year just to go through their life again and come back to school. We are unique, and take it positively, because the moment you become bitter, there's nothing you can do about it. Actually, you'll end up hurting yourself. So instead, build yourself. And because you love yourself, then take it positively. And I believe that we will overcome. And also pray for your government, because you are putting so much pressure on the government, but also let's pray for them that they shall have wisdom on what to do at this time. Yes, thank you.
I feel as if I should just say hallelujah. Word, girl. You just preached to the choir right here. I like your passion and all that you've said, and we need to put that into consideration, especially those teen girls who have found themselves in such a situation. They need to look to the future, because that has already happened. And I like that you've borrowed from what Kezia Nyaga has said, that, this is a time to offer encouragement to anyone who might find themselves in a precarious situation, to say the least, and just say, we live to fight another day. Yesterday was a bad day, but this is a new opportunity to be something else. Thank you very much, Grace Masharia. I wish that you actually live to see out your dream of being a civil engineer. I know taking up a class at Form 4 might not be as what you had planned, but let's go with what Kezia said Age is nothing but a number. Thank you very much, each and every person who came on board this morning to discuss that particular issue, the changes in the school calendar. The parent, that is Ruth Macharia, who gave advice to all those, especially candidates both in class 8 and Form 4, saying, take this time to revise what you thought you did not have in hand at this time. Thank you very much, Kezia, for saying that mentors need to come up and set up and just focus on being that particular role model that you should. Thank you very much, everyone else. Timothy Ekesa, Charlene, who is traveling to Mombasa. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ruth Oguna. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Ruth Masharia, once again. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Francis. And thank you, Precious, as well as Wen Joroge and Spicy Wambui. It's been a pleasure to have you on board Good Morning Kenya as we talk about matters close to our hearts and is what is happening in the education sector. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.